Guys, we arrived at the very last talk of the day. It will be an in-depth panel discussion together with Gorgias, Neil Forrest, and they will talk about the long-lasting e-commerce question, acquisition versus retention, which actually is already answered by Thomas, but together...
Thanks for all the spoilers. Thanks for all the spoilers on how to nail your retention.
But they will even answer more of the questions.
Yeah.
He's joined alongside Claudio Moron, head of e-commerce at Love Stories, Paulinho Chin, e-commerce director at Filling Pieces, and last but not least, Matt Kennedy, founder of Fussy. So please give them a warm applause.
Oh, okay. That doesn't matter. Yeah, come up. Welcome to the stage. Thank you. All right. Good to meet you. Yeah, this is an unexpected extra, so here we go. We'll roll with it. Nice of you to be here. I was actually going to say thank you to Ask Phill for this opportunity, and I actually sent a message to my Dutch friend this morning saying, hey, can you tell me how to say thanks for having me? I love Amsterdam in Dutch. And she replied with this voice note. And I was like, nah, can't do it. It's too difficult. So you guys who actually speak Dutch, I don't understand how you do it. So I will just say, I'll keep it simple, I'll say dank u wel. Thank you for having me. I genuinely do love Amsterdam, and I think this event has been incredible. So we'll get started, and then we can get drinking. So to quickly introduce myself, I'm Neil Forrest. I am Strategic Partner Manager at Gorgias. And basically what that means is I get to work with some of the best agencies around Europe to make sure that their teams and their clients get the most out of Gorgias and also get some sweet deals. So I also run my own D2C brand. I'm here because of Gorgias, but hopefully if there's anything that I've done, like in my experience as a Gorgias customer that I can share with you today, I'll try and do that, but really it's about you guys. And I'm looking forward to learning from what you've done so that I can actually implement that in my strategies as well. The general sort of topic is about balancing acquisition and retention. And the reason for that is, as the majority of the talks have touched on today, we're seeing huge increases in acquisition costs. Brands are relying more on their existing customer base to drive that growth that they need. So we're just going to talk about how you balance that, some of the strategies for acquisition, some for retention, and really focus on trying to make it actionable so that people can go away and regardless of the technology that they're using, they feel, okay, I should be going and doing this with my brand. So without further ado, in 1 minute, can you each introduce yourself, please? Have you got a microphone? There we go. Who wants to go first? Yeah, you've got the mic. You start.
Yeah, so my name is Paulinho. I've been with Filling Pieces for, I think, 13 years now, from the start. The brand was founded by my brother. And we started with footwear, and now we're a complete fashion brand. We also offer apparel and accessories. The plan for Filling Pieces was to create a product in between high-end fashion and streetwear in terms of quality, price, and also distribution. And we're Amsterdam-based. We have an office in the center of Amsterdam with a flagship store, around 65 people in the team. And I've been responsible for the e-commerce, I think, for the last 6 years. Before I was doing most of the operations. And set up the team and everything. Jeroen started, I think, about 3 to 4 years ago as online marketeer. Then he became online marketing manager, and now he's the manager of the whole e-commerce department. And I'm focusing more on the commercial strategy of the company.
So any questions you two should really be able to answer.
Yes. So small introduction for Jeroen, but maybe he can introduce himself as well.
Yeah, you introduce yourself, and then in 10 seconds, tell us what your biggest challenge for the year has been.
Ooh, 10 seconds. So thank you for the introduction, Pauline. Yeah, so I've been working at Filling Pieces for the last 4 years, but already for 8 years in fashion and e-com. As Pauline said, I'm now responsible for e-commerce, so online performance marketing and the web shop, basically. And again, sorry, your question, 10 seconds.
Yeah, just your biggest challenge.
Biggest challenge
for the last year.
Over the last year, for me, what you already said, rising acquisition costs, it's been quite crazy, actually.
Yeah.
If you look over the last year, it's been raising maybe at least 100%. So, like, how do you divide your budget? How do you divide your budget between acquisition and retention? That's definitely something that we're daily working.
Good. Well, that is literally what we're going to be speaking about. Yeah, over to you, Claudia.
Thanks. Hi, everyone. I'm Claudia, head of ecom from Love Stories. Love Stories is an Amsterdam-based lingerie brand. We create beautiful, very comfortable, playful lingerie. Our key product is a bralette that is a bit different to the conventional bra that you might know. We do that without a metal underwire, so it's a very, very comfortable product. We call it Holiday for Your Boobs. And we are an Amsterdam-based retail brand. We have 15 stores all across Europe. We have our own e-com store. We sell through a third party in China, through Tmall. We're active on marketplaces, but we're also a wholesale company. So we cover it all, and I think that makes it very interesting when we go into the digital space. Thank you.
And last but not least.
Cool. Yeah, my name is Matt. I'm the founder and self-appointed, I guess, CEO of Fussy. I say self-appointed because I'm not sure I'd get the job otherwise. We are a sustainable personal care brand on a mission to banish single-use plastic from your bathroom. I was going to say it's on screen right now. There it is. Our first product is a refillable deodorant. It's the UK's top-rated, soon to be hopefully Europe's top-rated. Hence why one of the reasons I'm here. And yeah, I think that's about it. What was the other question?
In 10 seconds, your biggest challenge for the year.
Biggest. So professionally, probably, I don't want to bring the vibe down or anything, but recession. And personally, probably just like finding balance.
Yeah, I can definitely empathise with that. Cool. Well, yeah, thank you for the introductions. I'll kick off. Seeing as you've got the mic in your hand, what do you think of like my general sort of summary of the state of e-commerce at the moment in terms of rising acquisition costs? And how do you, particularly as a brand, balance that? And how is it affecting your strategy going forward?
So, yeah, I mean, I totally agree. It's a big, big issue at the moment. I think for us, it basically the whole kind of acquisition versus retention for me, I think it's less versus and it's more balance.
Yeah.
If you imagine a seesaw, it's like, where do you put your budget into acquisition or retention? And I think that comes down to the stage of the business that you're at. So, if you've got no customers, there's no point trying to retain them, right? So for us, we're heavily acquisition focused at the moment. We've got about 100,000 UK customers. But what you can do, I guess, is put in the foundations of retention, making sure your CRM's working. But we also have a tendency to overcomplicate things. And I would personally say my one piece of advice would just be like a relentless, undivided focus on your product and your customer. And those are the two best kind of acquisition and retention strategies out there, I think, probably.
Okay, brilliant. And I guess actually, follow-up question to that is, like, as a founder, how important do you think it is to sort of be in the weeds, as it were, with customer support and, you mentioned your CRM, to really understand the feedback that you're getting from customers? How important is that for you as a founder, and how do you use that?
Yeah, so it's obviously really challenging to kind of, as you grow, you need to remove yourself from being in the weeds a little bit. But I think when you start out, it's vitally important that you are in the weeds so that you can learn how operations work. I set up all our Klaviyo flows, so when I speak to someone, I can kind of just about understand what they're talking about. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, really important. In terms of customer service, like, I'm super passionate about that. At Fussy, we've got about 13 employees. Almost 50% of those work in customer service. So like the majority are in customer service because they are kind of our eyes and ears, how we improve the product, what we need to do. And I try and jump on to customer service whenever I can to kind of see what's going on. So yeah, I think it's really important to kind of keep hands on. But as you scale, as you grow, you need to be able to learn to remove yourself from the party, but
Yeah.
struggling with that maybe a bit too
I
much.
guess while we're on that topic, Claudia, thinking of like the brands that we have here today and being able to like give them something like actionable, like what are the biggest learnings that you've had from being close to customers? Because I know that's not necessarily what you do now, but you have done it in the past.
Yeah, so it's super important, and for me, it's all about listening. One thing is just to be active in customer service yourself, as you do. So as a leader of a team, it is super important to know what's going on. But for me, it is really understanding what's going on. What we do as a team, for example, is we watch Hotjar recordings regularly to just see what's going on. So it's not only looking at the data and going into analytics and seeing, oh, well, we maybe have a high exit rate here and there. It is really seeing the struggle of the consumer and seeing somebody going through a really painful experience because we have done a crappy job on site. That hurts me immediately and way more than the data analyst saying, like, we have a exit rate X on that page.
Yeah.
So face yourself with the bad choices you also make in your operation, and that really helped me to see, wow, we're really not doing a good job here. Let's fix that. So, yeah, expose yourself to what's going on, and that can mean jump on your chat system, spend a night doing extra service, answer emails, even answer the phone. But also, if you have a retail presence, be in store, be on the field, meet your consumer, and talk to them. So there are multiple ways how you can expose yourself and get crazy learnings. And sometimes it's a simple thing that a filter isn't working and somebody's clicking in a rage on a page. Stuff
Nice
like
one.
that.
Yeah, that's good. Thinking about filling pieces and the sort of retention acquisition balance, do you treat customer support as, do you measure revenue through customer support? Do you treat that as a sales channel? And if so, can you kind of talk about the acquisition side and the retention side and how customer support feeds into that?
Yeah. Well, of course, customer support can be a revenue-driving channel, but in the end, it should be first about service, of course. So we want to make sure that our customer service feels like a brand ambassador is talking to you, and not about like a salesperson pushing you into a certain direction. So yeah, the customer support for us is more a listening channel, like you said. Not only customer support online, but also the store. I think I often go into the store just to listen to what people are saying, just being on the site, see how they touch the product, how they try the product.
Oh, yeah.
Because of course I'm all about digital, but it's so good to get physical feedback in the end as well. So the balance between acquisition and retention for customer support, for us it's more retention than acquisition at this moment. So it's more that we get a good trust from the customer and that they get back to us, but not really pushing sales at the moment, no.
And can you think of any like specific examples? I'm putting you on the spot here, I think. Can you think of any specific examples of like of how you do that? How you use say automation within your retention strategy to help keep customers happy and provide a better customer experience so that they come back time and time again?
Yeah, think more about the Klaviyo flows, for example, the integration we have between Gorgias and Klaviyo.
Yep.
That customers that contacted us and they have a good experience, we have a flow that sends them a review request.
Yeah.
They can leave a review, which in the end also helps in terms of acquisition. But yeah, so it's mostly the flows, the integrations that we use. And yeah, I think the addition of our customer service being brand ambassadors also gives more trust to the customer instead of buying through a platform or a multi-brand store.
Yeah, I think that's a really good example, actually. I think that Klaviyo integration is one of my favorites because, like, to date, there really hasn't been the opportunity for marketeers to leverage customer service data with it to create segments within their email platform. And now, I know we've got Klaviyo people here today, so big up Klaviyo. But now you can do that. Like in real time, exclude people who have just raised like a negative ticket. So
yeah, and at the same time, I think customers that have a bad experience are maybe 10 times or 100 times more likely to leave a review. So I think as a brand or as a company, you also need to be aware of that. Because if you only look at bad reviews, which automatically should be more, because if people have a bad experience, they will leave a review and think that that helps. But so you also need to find the balance there. And I think that's also what Jeroen said, where the feedback that we get in the physical stores, it's not only negative feedback, but you have a conversation with a consumer, which can also be positive.
Yeah, love that. I guess while we're talking about feedback as well, Claudia, how do you collect customer feedback at scale? And can you share examples of how you use that feedback or the data that you're collecting to improve, whatever aspect it might be? So, internal operations, ad copy, product page copy, whatever it might be.
Yeah, maybe I can share a few examples. So we have very classic NPS surveys that go out after purchase. So we just ask the customer, how was the experience? Mm-hmm. And we have a pretty broad aspect to that. So we try to find out what is the biggest struggle that we're going through, and then take that into our operation. We also use Yotpo, that was here on stage before. So product reviews, super important. We take what the consumer says and integrate that into our product descriptions. Besides that, me and the team were trying on every single item that we have in our store. So we test that on ourselves. We are customers ourselves. So I think that's also something to consider. Most of us are, we're high on our own supply, I sometimes say. So that's super important. And then we're also looking for more subtle ways to learn something about the customer and also how they react. So for example, we use Crowbox on our site. There's a service also here from Amsterdam, where we try to find out what triggers them. So at the moment we test psychological principles, and the findings we find out there, for example, scarcity is something that works better in one market versus authority messages work in another market. We take that into our tone of voice. Okay. Because for us as a brand, the tone of voice, I don't know if you've been on our site, but we have a very specific tone of voice, and it's a big challenge for us to localize that in different geos.
Common theme, that's the second time that's come up today.
It doesn't really work
Maybe third.
In all languages. So we have to understand what triggers them, and that then also goes back into our customer service. The person that speaks on a chat with you has to speak in that specific tone of voice that works in the market.
Cool, thanks. Now, I guess something is equally as important as stuff that's worked well or noticing trends. Have you done anything that has been a complete failure? If so, what was it? Have you learned from it? And just tell us a little bit about that. That goes to any of you, whoever wants to answer it.
I've lots of things, but embrace that because you learn from them. And also, I was going to say on the negative feedback point, really interesting. Something we try and say internally is right message, wrong messenger. So when people leave you a bad review, actually somewhere in there is a truth. Do you know what I mean? So they've just expressed it in the wrong way. So anyone that leaves us a bad review, please don't test it. But I email them directly myself, get into contact, and maybe not scalable. Depends on how many bad reviews you get, but always lean into the bad news and failures. I'm trying to think of some. There's like so many. What did I do recently? Recently, obviously the Queen's funeral was in the UK. We were at work. Well, I was at work, and we sent out a sale email bang on 11 a.m., which happened to be the minute silence to 100,000 customers. So that was a big mistake.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
Hands up there. I had to explain to everyone what I was doing. It got a really high open rate. But
did you also see an increase in ticket volume, like instantly?
I'm going to stop there until I get in trouble. But, I did also have to apologise to a lot of people. So there you go. Hands up. That's my mistake.
Okay, that's a good one. Respect you for coming out with that. Anyone else want to share a failure, or should we move on to the next question? Yeah? Okay, let's do it.
Did we switch that? Test. Oh, works again. I think this year has been super, super exciting for us and different and very challenging. So beginning of the year when everything went downhill, I think for most of us here with the war and then the recession, yada, yada, we tried a lot of things, and we thought by being more out there and more helpful, we can drive revenue, because we saw, hey, competition is on sale, our own wholesale accounts are on sale. We don't want to do that. So what can we do internally better to service the customer better? And I think we went a little bit over the top. So we used, for example, Gorgias with chat campaigns, and we threw ourselves really in front of the consumer. And that was during nights where I've done actually chat support, and we really annoyed the customer. So it's not always the trigger, and it's not always key to success to be really, really helpful. Some people just want to shop around, and then if you throw yourself in front of them, if you throw pop-ups in front of them, that's really annoying. So I had people chatting with me, leave me alone, get out of my way.
Can be a little
and that
bit
was really
too
an eye-opener
proactive.
for me to say, okay, I thought I'm helpful, but let's take a step back. So yeah, I think especially in these moments where performance is not reliable anymore, you cannot trust any of your KPIs. Yeah, you get very creative, you get very ambitious, and not everything, not always. Yeah, more is better.
Okay, right, good. That's a good one. I'm conscious of time, so I'm going to have to select maybe one or two more questions from this list. I'm going to go with, tell me 1 to 2 new things that you're focusing on right now, like new initiatives to help with acquisition or retention. Or the alternative question, if you want it, is any last-minute tips for brands to do with Black Friday, Cyber Monday. Choose whichever question you'd like to answer.
I'll take the first one.
Okay.
Because Black Friday, I'm fed up of getting emails about tips. No, I'm only joking. But yeah, I think what we're doing actually, and sorry if you work in marketing, which I used to as well. But we're actually moving budget from marketing really to invest in the kind of underlying infrastructure of the business. And I think we're going to see more of that as we enter more and more difficult times. So, CRM, website, your product, so both physical and digital product, CX, investing in these things that might have a longer payback period in terms of, you revamp something on site, it costs you 10 grand, you dip down, you might not see the return for 6 months, but after 6 months, it's going to, so I think we'll see more companies doing that, which is probably good news for digital agencies designing websites.
Yeah, nice one. And how about you guys? Any new initiatives or strategies?
Yeah, we only have secrets, so I don't want to share them. Yeah, well, I think big focus for us is definitely retention. We're, of course, talking about this, but I think, of course, what you always see during recession is that people are more likely to shop at a brand or a store that they already know. Mm-hmm. So I think also that consumer behavior is gonna switch slightly. And for us, of course, also the challenge there is that we're more in a higher end product price. So yeah, that's still a struggle. Like, how do we get people in to still spend that amount of money on a pair of shoes and a pair of t-shirts? So yeah, one of our things, well, we were already talking about the integration of Gorgias and Klaviyo. So we have a few projects running up over there to integrate that even better, in our opinion. Actually, well, what you were talking about, we already had invested a lot in a new website end of last year. So I think on that end, we're quite good. But the challenge and the focus for us is really like, how can we, because we know acquisition is getting more expensive, how can we switch that budget into retention? And that's the biggest focus. Yeah.
I think also to add to that, the retention part is that we're also looking into external advice in terms of email marketing, because we work with online marketing agencies that focus on social media advertising and Google advertising, but yeah, I think we can also get some extra expert advice in terms of email marketing, because of course you pay for Klaviyo, but you can get a lot more bang for your buck instead of advertising on the big platforms.
Yeah, nice one.
And also, yeah, with Ask Phill, we're working on a data platform, so we can combine all the big data from the different sales channels and also really see like a customer lifetime value, but also a customer timeline, because we have quite a broad audience. Some customers come in at 16 years old and they still buy now 12 years later. So yeah, we really want to track them. Do they buy different type of products, different price point, etc. So that's something we're working on with
Nice,
Ask Phill.
like that. And then are you able to combine that data with the customer service data as well?
Yeah.
Perfect. All right, well, I mean, I've just been shown the 5-minute sign, so that means it's Q&A time. If anyone has any questions for the panel, please fire away. Anybody? No? Yeah, everyone wants to drink? There's a question. Does anyone want a drink? There we go. Right, well, I think that brings us to a close. I'll hand back over to Ask Phill to tell us next steps. But thank you to the panel. You're all wonderful. Yeah.